He's still a young man, but Wab Kinew has already lived multiple lives. Successful hip-hop artist.
There they go, they talk again. But they never walked a mile in my moccasins.
Former reporter with the CBC.
Peter, I'm standing on a baseball diamond in the Peguis First Nation.
And now the Director of Indigenous Inclusion at the University of Winnipeg. He's also one of the people at the heart of Idle No More.
It's really about Indigenous rights and trying to revitalize Indigenous culture.
Grassroots protests that started small and quickly spread with flash mobs, protests on Parliament Hill, even the threat of a hunger strike. The movement is largely a protest against Bill C-45, a bill that directly affects First Nations communities. Wab's been here before.
We Aboriginal people thought we were getting a seat at the big table. But it turns out we had a reservation at a much smaller table.
As the host of a powerful CBC documentary series called Eighth Fire, its premise that Native and non-Native Canadians can have relationships based on mutual trust and benefit.
Good luck, Mike Michelle Wab Kinew. Hello, George. Thank you, man. Good to see you again. Thanks for having me back. Welcome back, bud. Hold on. Booyah.
Once again, I brought a gift.
Dude.
It's a treaty medallion.
Thank you, sir.
Two sides shaking hands, honoring the treaty. As they say, we're all treaty people. So now you got the medallion.
Thank you, sir.
You can get your free gas just like Justin Bieber.
Dude, I do have a pickup truck. I could use the discount.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much.
No, we
man.
don't get free gas.
I appreciate it. No, I know you don't. That's really beautiful. Thank you. I don't know more. Your thoughts on the philosophy of that?
It's an amazing, amazing thing to behold. I mean, I'm so energized, I'm so inspired to see what's happening. Regardless of what the political outcomes are, here's the true importance of Idle No More. Our cultures have been marched back into the public view of the collective conscience. You know what I mean? People young and old, native and non, are starting to see our people re-energized, are seeing our cultures again. And the really important thing is that regardless of which direction it takes from here on in, the impressions that are being made today, everyone here is going to carry with them for the rest of their lives.
How important is positive perception from the non-Native community?
It's huge. It's huge. What I see happening right now is there is tremendous public support for Idle No More. And yet there's a growing backlash against Idle No More as well. And what I say to that is this. You know, I think a lot of the people who are anti-Idle No More or who are, threatened by Aboriginal rights and the Aboriginal rights movement is that it's coming from a place of fear or uncertainty. People are worried about, hey, am I going to be worse off if Natives get an equal share of the pie? Am I going to have to pay higher taxes for Indigenous people to move up in Canadian society? And I say, no, you are not. We are all going to do better if we work together.
Right.
You know, right now in Attawapiskat, there's a kid who could be a doctor, but instead she's living in a shack.
A lot of the backlash I see is people go, where'd the money go? They're not happy with the audit.
Yeah. You know, there was a study done a few years back that found that it was less than 3% of band councils across Canada that handled their money in the wrong way. So I think it's important to understand the fact that most First Nations communities are in fact fiscally responsible.
And lots of audits show that.
Exactly. So really, what's behind all this call for accountability? You know, do we have accountability at all levels in government in Canada? I'm not sure. You know, but there seems to.
We don't.
I'm trying to be diplomatic here, George. Come on, help me out.
You are wearing a tie. You are wearing a tie.
Exactly. But you know, like all this stuff that happens. Okay, you know, the audit for Attawapiskat, the division between the Assembly of First Nations. You know what I mean? That's the real tragedy of how this thing is playing out in the mainstream media. Is at the end of the day, we're not talking about what it's really about. This is about the environment. This is about standing up for equal opportunity for First Nations children. Why are we getting distracted with all these other piecemeal issues?
Well, why are we?
Well, because it fits into a convenient narrative for, unfortunately, the CBC and other outlets to tell.
No, wait a minute. What do you mean by that?
Hey, I love the CBC.
You worked here, and Eighth Fire was successful, and it was here.
Very, very successful. But I also worked as a daily news journalist for many years, and I know that there is a certain expectation to go out one day and come back with a compelling piece of tape. And often, the easiest way to tell that story is to highlight conflict rather than to highlight positivity.
But that's not a CBC issue, dude. That's a general issue.
Thing, yeah. No, I'm on CBC right now, so I figured I'd poke fun, right?
That is one way to do it.
I come bearing gifts and also insults and teasing.
Whatever works for you, man.
Yeah, man.
You are definitely the guest. The hunger strike.
Yeah.
Chief Spence. What do you think?
You know, it's on an intellectual level, I can't rationalize it. But on the level of the heart, I understand it completely. And that's really how it breaks down. She's a mother standing up for her kids, standing up for my kids as well. And that's about it. You know, because if we're thinking about on the level of political strategy, it doesn't make any sense. You know, Harper is not going to come around to her demands. You know what I mean? As a tool of mobilizing public sympathy, it's not gonna work. But you know what? Sometimes it's not about what goes on up here. Sometimes it's about what happens right here.
Right. What are your thoughts on Prime Minister Harper's connection to this story? Not the hunger strike, but No More First Nations issues. On a personal level, do you feel, from your opinion, he's connected to this, engaged with this?
Yes, he's very engaged. I think that the fact that there was the meeting, the fact that the Governor General was added to the mix, the fact that the issue of Aboriginal and treaty rights is now being dealt with directly in the Prime Minister's office shows that the Prime Minister is paying very close attention to this.
What are your thoughts on Sean Atleo?
I think Sean Atleo's a very good man. He's a great politician, and he has one of the most difficult positions to be in all of this right now.
That's kind of an answer. I accept the answer, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Last week in Ottawa, there was a missed opportunity, okay? I understand why the treaty chiefs boycotted the meeting with the Prime Minister. They want to assert our nationhood, and they want to keep dealing in good faith directly with the Crown. You know, the Governor General and the Prime Minister at the same time, not one sort of, distinct element of that. That makes sense to me. At the same time, I understand what Sean Atleo and the other chiefs who attended the Prime Minister's meeting want. They want pragmatic results. They want economic development and stuff like that. There was a moment last Thursday night where the treaty chiefs got up and en masse, they all said, hundreds of them, said, we are going to stand with Chief Spence. Nobody from that first delegation got up and said, we're still going to go to the meeting. Okay? So I think that camp owed it to the other camp to say, we hear what you're saying, we still have to go to this meeting in order to achieve something practical. What is the message that you want us to take into that meeting from you guys? And then at least there, we could have moved forward together.
Stick around, more with Wab right after this.
I think that I'm dope as an MC, and I'm coming from a unique perspective that hasn't been heard from in hip-hop yet.
Dr. Wab Kinew, that's awesome.
That's hilarious. Man, your research team was hard at work.
The young MC.
In.
All right, anthropology. What do you like most about Prime Minister Stephen Harper?
I like the fact that he's a brilliant political strategist.
He's maybe the best we've ever seen.
Oh yeah, like the way that he marched the Conservative Party, through successive elections is like one of the, great modern feats of politics.
Let's just say at one point the aliens decide, okay, listen, we've watched this long enough, we've had it, F it, we're coming down, we're colonizing North America. Would you look at it and go, that's a shame, or would you go, it's about goddamn time?
I'd say, oh wow, who are the Canadians going to turn to for advice on how to resist a colonizing nation? Yes.
Who are you secretly in love with? And yes, they're watching.
Rihanna, but she's not watching.
First of all, she might be.
She is.
And second of all, Rihanna?
It's the voice. I don't know. No.
That's awesome. Can you sing a Rihanna song for me?
No, but you guys want to do a flash mob round dance?
Yeah, we're gonna do it?
Yeah, you guys want to? Like, this is what it's all about. This is what it's all about. So the flash mob brown dance thing has been one of the most popular tactics of Idle No More, and what it is a traditional dance, a friendship dance, right? So it's just about showing off our culture. So I noticed that I have a few sisters in the house today. To stand up, link hands. The one, there we go. She's loving it. Hey, yo, hey, ha. Hey, 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 all right. What a bright, beautiful night to show you how I love you. Oh, how I miss our time together. Can't wait till you get home. Hi-yo, hi-yo, hi-yo.
Wow.
Hey.
That was great, man.
Come on, guys. That was cool.
That was great.
Yeah, man.
Thank you.
That's what it's all about, man.
Wab Kinew, the Director of Indigenous Inclusion at the University of Winnipeg. We'll be right back.
He's also one of the people at the heart of Idle No More.
It's really about Indigenous rights and trying to revitalize Indigenous culture.
Grassroots protest that started small and quickly spread with flash mobs, protests on Parliament Hill, even the threat of a hunger strike. The movement is largely a protest against Bill C-45, a bill that directly affects First Nations communities. Wab's been here before.
Go Wab Kinew! George.
Thank you, man.
Good to see you again.
Thanks.
Having me back.
Welcome back, bud.
Hold on.
Booyah.
Once again, I brought a gift.
Dude.
It's a treaty medallion.
Thank you, sir.
Two sides shaking hands, honoring the treaty. As they said,
Aboriginal people thought we were getting a seat at the big table. But it turns out we had a reservation at a much smaller table.
As the host of a powerful CBC documentary series called Eighth Fire, its premise that Native and non-Native Canadians can have relationships based on mutual trust and benefit. He's still a young man, but Wab Kinew has already lived multiple lives. Successful hip-hop artist,
There they go, they talk again. But they never walked a mile in my moccasins.
former reporter with the CBC,
Peter, I'm standing on a baseball diamond in the Peguis First Nation.
and now the Director of Indigenous Inclusion at the University of Winnipeg.
today we're all treaty people. So now you got the medallion.
Thank you, sir.
You can get your free gas just like Justin Bieber.
Dude, I do have a pickup truck. I could use the discount.
Yeah.
I'll definitely thank you so much.
No, we
man.
don't get free gas.
I appreciate it. No, I know you don't. That's really beautiful. Thank you. I don't know more. Your thoughts on the philosophy of that?
It's an amazing, amazing thing to behold. I mean,